Hello, everyone. This is Felicia Bender, the practical numerologist, and we are talking about the 7 personal year. In this video, we are going to talk all about the 7. So, if you are new to numerology and you stumbled upon this, and you're like, I don't even know what she's talking about. What is a personal year? If you're unsure, if you want to know, please look in the description box below. There will be a calculation, a description of the personal year, but I'm not going to go through that here because I'm just going to get right into it. I figure if you clicked on this video, that is what you want to know about. So we are talking about the personal year cycle, the number 7. And in numerology, we go through these 9-year cycles. So 1 through 9. And the 7, we're kind of inching toward the end of a cycle, right? In this 9-year personal year cycle. So, what does the 7 bring with it as a personal year? So, the personal year, I like to describe it as it's the theme to your party. And right now, we're going to talk about what is the question that you're asking yourself, because numerology isn't just blah blah blah, right? It's not just talk. Numerology is actually energy. It actually is present, kind of like gravity, like cell phone reception. Whether we believe in it or not, whether we understand it or not, it's operational. And so the really kind of neat thing, cool thing about numerology is that you can feel it, right? You can feel it, and yet sometimes it's hard to kind of get a grasp around exactly what you're feeling or what's going on. So the purpose of this and of this video is to describe to you a framework of the key themes, the thematics that is a very integral part of the energy that is supporting you this year during or if you are having a 7 personal year. During a 7 personal year, this is what is coming into play with you and for you. So the 7 is all about inner work. It's about knowledge gathering. It is about digging deep. So this is really a year where, of all the personal years, you really get a permission slip to retreat, kind of hibernate. Even the energy of the year, those of you who are experiencing it might attest to this, feels low energy. It feels like not so vibrant. And that's not bad about this year. What it does is calls you inward. It's asking you to slow down. It's asking you to kind of contemplate your own navel, right? The 7 in numerology is all about analysis, and it's all about spiritual seeking, truth seeking. So this is a year where you are, know it or not. Hopefully, this definer can help with this. You're really asking yourself what is true to you. What is your truth? What do you feel is a universal truth? All of those big picture, deep dive spiritual questions are tapping at you. So if you're a spiritually oriented, excuse me, person to begin with, this isn't news. And yet, if you aren't, it can be kind of a shock, or it can feel very odd. So I would just say that the statement or the question for this is: would the real me please stand up? So the goal here is to look below the surface and to reveal how to step into your next level of personal growth. All right. Sounds, I don't know. I was going to say it sounds kind of easy, but I don't even think it really sounds easy, if I'm honest. So it is a year to pause, to probe the deepest parts of yourself. And in the bring it on category, in what it's all about, it feels very very in alignment, is all about learning. So this is often a time where you're drawn into learning something new. Often it is spiritually based. And by spiritually based, I mean you're learning a new meditation technique, or you're reading a book about, I don't know, past life regression, or your a friend says, "Hey, I've got an extra ticket to go to this psychic medium event. Do you want to go with me?" And you go and you have an experience there. Sometimes it's of that nature. Sometimes it can be have to do with work and retooling for work, or gathering other tools for work. Maybe you are taking a certification course in some kind of AI, trend or technology or something like that. I'm just using that as a random example, but it can be a year where that is favored. It's a time where you're really organizing things. You're organizing yourself. You're learning things. You're putting things into some kind of organizational pattern for yourself. It is really going to count on a lot of reflection, a lot of solitude, and a lot of analysis. There's a lot of enhanced intuition during this period of time, whether you know it or not, or whether you're available for that or not. I will find that oftentimes it's where you find yourself really delving into the mystical realms. Whatever that means to you at this time and place. Some people who are super spiritual really go down another deeper path, and sometimes this is the year where people who have not a spiritual bone in their body, so to speak, have an experience that push that, right? That push that. And what I mean by that is often I will find in a 7 personal year, someone might have an illness, maybe that can't be explained. It's mysterious. They go and they go through every test, every medical doctor on the planet, and they can't get an answer. And that's when even the most, unbelieving of people in the metaphysical realms will turn out of desperation to energy medicine, to energy work, to even acupuncture, to all kinds of other modalities that they would never consider before, because they just can't find an answer in the standard traditional answer and pool of answers, right? So it will bring them there. And that is the purpose of having this issue on a spiritual level. If you were to look at it with your spiritual lens, with your spiritual binoculars, right? And so it really is a very, very important, deep year for spiritual growth, but it's not a lightning bolt. It's not something that is just go, go, go and wow. It's much more, okay, slower, contemplative. Let me read that. Let me experience it. Let me digest it, all of those aspects. So it's really a time for planning rather than doing. So if you feel as though this is a year that you need to really, really tear it up in your career and in the financial realm, you will be disappointed. Just saying it. So it's really nice to know that it is not the time. It's not the time for that. Yes, some people get a little bit nervous and they're like, "Oh, but I just got a new job offer. Should I take it in a 7 personal year?" Sure, go ahead and take it. Oftentimes it won't be the one, or you'll have some delays and that sort of thing in terms of getting onboarded, or however you want to say that. And then the real launch of your with this job will take off in next year, in your 8 personal year, which is all about that. And yet if you try to push it in a 7 personal year, you will always be disappointed, because it's just not meant for that right now. You're meant to prep for that. You're meant to be ready for this new level of your existence, and you're supposed to get your grounding in terms of your spiritual truth, in terms of that. So this is really the time to take care of the physical body. I will always advise people during a 7 personal year, if this is the time where, I don't know, you need to do some dental work that you've been putting off because you're going to have kind of maybe a week of downtime, or something of that nature, or a surgical procedure that takes downtime that you don't really, whatever it is, take the time to do it. It's also a time to pay attention to your health, to take some more time in nature. Anything near water is very rejuvenating during a seven personal year. So it is time to trust in yourself and in divine timing and in whatever your concept of God, the universe, source, whatever your higher level of belief, it is your time to really define that and reconnect with that in many ways. So you can expect a few of the pushbacks will be lower energy, this kind of the underlying feeling that you just want to hibernate. It's like last year, this time, I wanted to go out to the bars and I wanted to party. I wanted to do all that. This year, I'm like, oh my gosh, no, just I want my book. I want my cup of hot cocoa and my little snuggly PJs. And that's what it's kind of meant for that this year. Not all the time. You can be too isolated, and yet to give yourself permission to do that. There can be frustration that comes when you're working against the grain. So frustration, and it's really going to invite you to do some pretty big deal shadow work. And what does shadow work mean? Shadow work means it's just going to give you situations and experiences that will challenge your sense of trust and your sense of just everything in the universe. I always find that the seven personal year can be um, is challenging, I guess, as I don't know how to use the terminology here. Um, as challenging as the nine personal year, just differently. I find that in the nine personal year, things kind of exit on their own. Um, And then, well, maybe that's not true. Well, let me say it this way. In the seven personal year, things often happen to you that feel very victimizing. That feel it's often in a seven personal year. Let's use a relationship for example, just one of many random examples I could use. Let's say you're in a marriage and in a seven personal year, your spouse kind of surprises you and says they want a divorce, and you have to go through that process, but you're not the one asking for it. And you do a lot of why me, a lot of soul searching, a lot of anger, a lot of that's what I mean by shadow work in that way. And to make the point about the difference between that and the nine personal year, it's often in the nine personal year where you're the one who leaves the spouse, right? You're not the one who is left, you're the one who leaves. That's just again, one example. It could work any way that it goes on the chessboard, right? I'm just trying to give some examples to help understand kind of the mood around it and the energy around it. So this can be a year of really glorious revelations, things that change just on a kind of subatomic DNA level in your life, that change for you forever, that get planted and that happen during a seven personal year. There is a desire often to gain an expertise in a certain topic where you want to specialize in something, really do a deep dive and learn more about something. So it's a really good time for that. Repressed emotions can come to the surface very dramatically during a seven personal year, or alternately, there can be avoidance, right? Lots of drinking, lots of doing anything to avoid dealing with yourself on a deep level. Okay, so that can be with the numbing out, the zoning out, however that works for you. It could be by drugs and alcohol, or it could be by running 100 miles a day. I mean, it just depends on what numbing out, zoning out tool you might use. So it's also a time where you're questioning everything, just everything, questioning, kind of like what a 4-year-old child. I don't know what the statistic is about. I think it's 3 or 4-year-olds that they ask something like 2,000 questions a day or something like that. I can't remember the exact number, but it's a lot. It's a lot of questions, and you kind of get to play the 4-year-old for a while in a 7 personal year. It can also really inspire a lot of overthinking because the 7 is a lot in the head, learning how to balance the intuitive with the analytical, the left brain with the right brain. So a lot of times that is what happens with you and to you during a 7 personal year. I love Dr. Juno Jordan. She is a numerologist who I love to quote about the 7 personal year, where she says that the personal year is about developing the right state of mind. And that sounds kind of simple, and yet certainly it is not easy.